So I've stripped a couple of branches, some lower ones, sort of lollipopped a little bit because I just thought I don't want any straggle bits. But someone just said that's going to go back into veg. I couldn't be bothered to tighten it out on the text, but it won't go back into veg even on the 21st of June because, you know, think about it. The sun's at its highest peak at the 21st of June, and if I just keep putting it in that shed, so it's the sun rises at 5:15 or 5 o'clock, and then that goes in the shed at about 6, half 6. So it's getting a good, you know, it's getting 12 hours of light anyway. But the thing is this is why you've got to time it perfect. If you do it too early, if you start growing like in March, so you start flowering in March and the sun's not at its highest peak, you'll get all airy and dead light bud. No, it won't be dense. And if you do it late, like in August to September, you'll get light and airy bud, and there's more chance of like fungus. You know, the plant's more susceptible because that's when all the fungus comes out, when the damp, humid, you know, the climate changes, doesn't it? Basically, it gets all damp, and you know, it's when all the fungus comes out. So what I'm basically saying is there's a peak, there's a certain time to flower to get the most intense sunlight, right? So there's the most intense sun, so it's going to produce more rock hard buds, and it won't be light and fluffy. Obviously, it's like now. It's exactly like now. So think about it. It's going to be flowering. So we're in June now, aren't we? So it's going to be flowering another 4 weeks. It's been 2 weeks into, about 6 weeks into flower. Okay. Yet the sun starts getting lower and lower and lower. But it's only got to last couple of weeks. So even in June, July. So say like it starts flowering all through July. The sun's still strong. You see. It's once it starts going past August, you see, that's when you start thinking away. You know, if say for instance, here's an example, if I started flowering that now, so say like that was in veg and I started flowering that now at the end of July, that would be daft because I'd end up with dead light and airy bud. You can get a crop. I think you can get a crop one early in the year, one at the mid. It's like having grapes. You pick the first one and then you'd have the most ripe, the middle, and then you'd have you know, a later one which is more sweeter, and there is that sweet spot you can grow it in. So you know, this could have been flowered a little, I'd say another week to 2 weeks earlier than it actually did to actually hit that full peak. But I'll show you what I mean is it ain't gonna go back into veg, and it's still gonna be flowering because I'm the one who's controlling the hours of light. It's me who's controlling it, you know. Just the difference is you've got to understand the sun rises and it hits a certain peak in the middle of summer, and then after that the rise, like the sunrise gets lower and it gets lower and it gets lower over the winter. You see what I mean? And that's all it is. So you just get less intense sunlight. So as I say, the sweet spot to be flowering or growing any March, I'd say start flowering, like kick it into flower in May the 15th, something like that, and then it'll just flower all the way through June, July, and that's when the sun's at its most intense and at its highest as well. So while it's on its 12-12, you know, it's only needing 12 hours of light. You're getting the maximum out of the sun as you can. So I don't know if that's just spun your head, but it's just that basically they think it's going to go back into veg. They don't understand, in a nutshell, I'm the one who's controlling the hours of light. The difference is if you do it earlier, you get less sun, and if you do it later, you get less sun, but there's a certain peak you can do it at, and you get the most intense sunlight, and it's at its highest, and it's at its longest hours, you see what I mean? But it makes no difference anyway. You know, if it ain't gonna kick back into veg, simple as that, and I'll show you what I mean.